With the release of new season of Fortnite, we got a brand new loot pool overhaul. Instead of the season's loot pool having a bunch of normal weapons, we now have a bunch of blasters. This also includes our shotguns, which are now the ACP Scatter Blaster and the BARM ST12 Scatter Blaster. The ACP Scatter Blaster is going to be a lot like the pump shotgun, meaning that it's going to hit really high damage at the expense of a slower fire rate, while the BARM ST2 Scatter Blaster is going to be more like the auto shotgun, meaning that it's going to shoot much faster at the expense of lower damage per shot. Now a lot of people must be wondering what the best scatter blaster to use this season is, and that is what I'm here to do. What is going on, my fellow Fortniters? And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what the best scatter blaster to use in Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 3 Galactic Battle is. If you guys found this video helpful and informative, make sure to like and subscribe for more weapon comparisons and breakdowns. Keep in mind that this video will be centered around zero builds, as that is the mode that I play the most. So if you play build mode, this video probably will not be helpful to you. So without further ado, let's get on with the comparisons, starting off with the ACP Scatter. The ACP Scatter Blaster comes in rarities from common to legendary, dealing damages from 99 to 121 to the body, with a headshot cap ranging from 165 to 185. This weapon also has a fire rate of 0.82. So as far as pump shotguns go, this weapon is not really too different, while also not being too much better than the other ones. The main advantage of this weapon is going to be its high damage. So you're going to be rewarded very heavily for having good aim. This weapon does a lot of damage, but it also has a slow fire rate. So if you do miss your shot or hit a really bad shot, it can be over for you. A lot of people like using this weapon in areas with a lot of cover, so they typically like to get behind a tree or some kind of cover where the enemy can't really deal a lot of damage to them, and all they really need to do is peek and hit a good shot, and then go back into cover, wait for the fire rate to reset, and then peek. That's typically how people like to use pump shotguns, especially in zero builds. This makes it so you can play a fight without taking way too much damage, so you don't have to use too much of your heals, and in the case of a third party, you won't be at low health. This is the reason why a lot of people like using the pump shotgun, because it is a high skill, high reward weapon. Of course, this weapon is going to have a major downside, which is going to be its fire rate. So if you do have to hit a bad shot, or you just miss the shot entirely, the fight can go south for you. This is why it is important to carry a spray weapon, because with a spray weapon, you can cover for the amount of time that it takes for the shotgun to be able to shoot again, and then once the shotgun delay is over, you can swap back to your shotgun and finish off the fight. Sometimes you can just use the spray weapon to finish it off. Using mobility and then cover can also make this delay a lot less of a problem. And then also just playing around cars, so you always have a method of cover, is also really good. You can also just jump around it and then also just get in and get out, making you a much harder opponent to fight against. This is why a lot of people like you being very good with their movement, because that's another way to just make the problems of the shotgun a lot less of a problem. Overall, the ACP Scatter Blaster is a really good weapon. It rewards you for having good aim, good movement, and good cover. There isn't really any problems I have with this weapon. It's just an all-around solid pump shotgun, and it does everything that I would want for a weapon like this to do. Now we have the BARM ST12. This weapon is also going to come in rarities from common to legendary, dealing 68 to 82 body damage, with a headshot cap of 120 to 140. this weapon is going to have a fire rate of 1.75. So it shoots more than twice as fast as the ACP. The faster fire rate is going to be this weapon's major advantage. This weapon is going to excel at 50-50s, where both your opponents are just out in the open shooting each other. That means that this weapon is not going to require a secondary weapon to swap, because the fire rate is fast enough for it to be good on its own. This means that you can pretty much run a 2-gun loadout with this. A 2-gun loadout this season is pretty nice because you can save extra space in your inventory for more utility items like EMPs, more cover, or lightsabers for more mobility. With the ACP, a 2-gun loadout wouldn't really be as viable because most of the spray weapons this season are only really good at close range. You're definitely going to want to have a long range weapon this season with how low mobility is and also with how good the DMR is. But because this weapon is so forgiving, if you hit a bad shot or if you just miss a shot in general, you don't have a lot of time before you can just shoot the weapon again. So having a spray weapon with this is not very necessary. This weapon's biggest disadvantage is going to be its low damage and large spread. This is going to make this weapon very inconvenient to use at situations that involve a lot of cover. So if you're fighting a good player with this weapon and they have a good movement and they use their cover very well, it's going to be very hard for you to win that fight. Not impossible. What you could do is try to make the fight a 50-50 as much as you can by using like shockwaves or like EMPs to flush them out. But other than that, it's going to be really hard to actually fight against good players with this shotgun, unless you're just out in the open, and you probably have a chance. This weapon also has very poor range for whatever reason. Like, I don't expect a shotgun to have really good range, like that's not really what I want in it, but this weapon's range definitely seems worse than a lot of the other ones, and that can be a major player when it comes to how consistent it deals damage. So overall, the BARM ST12 is much more forgiving and easy to use than the ACP, but the damage potential that it has is nowhere near as good. This weapon is going to excel in areas that have a lot of cover, or if your enemy is not using movement or cover very well. And then also, it's very good for freeing up space in your inventory for more utility items, especially in the season where these items can be very helpful. So in the end, what is the best scatter blaster in Fortnite Zero build? For me, it is going to be the ACP, mostly because of the advantages that this weapon has outweighs the disadvantages that it has. And also just because I am more of a pump shotgun style player. And that is where we get to the real answer to the question, which is just going to be that it depends on your playstyle. If you like the pump shotguns, you're going to prefer the ACP. If you prefer the auto shotguns, you are going to prefer the BARM. There really isn't a better choice between the two because they're both really good at what they do. It's not like in Chapter 5 where the hammer pump was like the worst pump shotgun, so everyone just used auto shotguns. Or the chapter before that where the Maven auto was nowhere near as good as the pumps. Both of these weapons are around the same tier of strength to me. And that's really all I have for this video. If you guys found it helpful and informative, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more comparisons, more reviews, and then also just more rankings. And don't forget to comment what your favorite scatter blaster is. This video is also going to be outdated once they add the new scatter blaster for the, I think the Wookiee update. But for now, the ACP is going to be the one that I prefer. Don't forget to have a really good day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.